Howdy everybody, welcome to a new episode of Building Tradition Farm. So really excited about today's episode. This is something I've been envisioning and hoping for a long time, and that is to put the arch up. So don't have the logs yet, but have a plan to get some here hopefully later this week. And all I've done so far is to measure 12 feet apart. The logs are supposed to be 14 to 16 foot long, so planning on getting 3 logs and making just a rectangle out of it. And so these are going to be at least 12 feet apart is the goal. So the insides of the posts would be 12 feet apart, so there's a 12 foot wide gap to run through. Could be a little bit wider depending on exactly how long the logs end up, but yeah, this video is just going to start with some digging. So let's get on to it. One of the fun things about owning your own land is if you want to dig a hole, just dig a hole. Making good progress, only about 18 inches deep so far. Got a long ways to go, but going relatively quick, but the early stages are definitely going to go quicker than the late stages. Tractor bucket not quite filled with dirt, but I don't want to overload it because dirt's pretty heavy. But I'm actually going to take a short break from digging and go fill in a hole around the house. I was thinking I'd have the tractor over here and throw the dirt into that to haul it away, which I used all that dirt for the first bucket load, but then I got to thinking, well, I'm going to need to fill these holes back in. Maybe not use all the dirt, but I'll need some of it. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to throw the dirt next to the hole here. All right, that's 26 inches so far. Not sure how far I'm gonna go. Maybe 3 feet, maybe 4 feet. I don't know if I can make it 4 feet if I have to dig by hand. Probably have to dig a lot wider if I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'll ask around and see what is recommended for this. But yeah, happy with the progress. Still have a little bit more time to where I could dig if I want to, but kind of need to get in my 3rd watering session of the day to water my seed from last week. Which good news is I've noticed some of the Bermuda starting to pop up only 6 days after the reseeding, so that's great. So anyways, that's enough for now. I'll return at a different point. All right everybody, it's the next day and we've been back to work on this hole. I widened it up a little bit. Kind of have a way of optimizing things as I go. I know I'm still probably not doing this totally optimally, but you know, you reach to a certain depth where it's hard to scoop stuff out with a shovel and it's hard to dig down there. But then I've got this big metal spike that I just throw down in there and it breaks up the ground and I can kind of move it around a little bit. And then I was at a point where I was just kind of scooping it out with my hand and throwing it on the dirt pile. But then it gets to a point where it's a little inconvenient to reach down that far and scoop up to the pile every single time. So then I grab a small bucket and I can make smaller scoops into the bucket and then take the bucket out and dump it on the dirt pile. And so yeah, that's my current method, but coming along pretty well. It is Tradition Tuesday, so you know I'm repping, as I am often repping, the Tradition gear. But yeah, going well on the first hole. Got more work to do still. Now I know some of you are probably saying get a pair of post hole diggers. Well, I have a pair and they're pretty old. I just got a pair yesterday. Just Found a used pair, probably not worth it. I didn't invest too much into them though, just like 15 bucks, but using for a little bit, and trust me at this point, what I'm doing right now is the most efficient method based on the tools that I have. I don't know what it is about digging, but I don't think there's anything on the planet that makes me sweat more than digging. So I think I'm finally done with the first hole. So that is about 2 feet wide and 3 feet deep. Didn't know if I'd ever make it. Kind of went through phases where I was doing what I was just showing you I was doing, but then it got to a point where it was deep enough to where I could get the shovel back in there and just stand in the hole and kind of dig into the ground, and using some physics to where the clay would kind of stick to the shovel and I could kind of just lift it up. And then it got to a point where it was so deep that I couldn't do my scooping technique very well because it was getting too far down for me to reach down there, but got her done. So happy to be halfway done. I mean, that was basically a 24-hour thing. I mean, not 24 hours of work, but started last night, yesterday sometime, and got done tonight. So that's good. I think that's it for tonight. I think I'm gonna water my seed a little bit more. Got a little bit of rain earlier today that helped. Hasn't been blazing hot today either, so that's been good. So yeah, just gonna relax for a bit, water some seed, call it a day. All right, next day, just finished up a watering session. Now it's finally time to rip the Band-Aid off and get started on this second hole. So probably not gonna get much footage of this one just because it's gonna be the exact same as the first one, but yep, I guess not over halfway done yet, exactly halfway done right now. So always encouraging to me when you get to that halfway point and you know it's getting closer and closer to 100% done. So yep, let's get this going. Well, pretty much grinded that all out in one session. That was maybe, I don't know, 4 hours or so. So it was kind of tough in the middle, kind of awkward stage again when it seemed like it took a little bit longer for me to get to clay. Once I get to the good clay and I can just, and there's a little bit of moisture in there, it's easy to kind of dig the shovel through there and then it sticks to the shovel as I pull it out. But that middle stage where it's a little too deep to scoop stuff, but it's still all dry, that's the hardest part. So yeah, really glad to just rip the Band-Aid off and be done with that. So hopefully here in a couple days we'll be back to work on some more exciting stuff with these holes. All right, here we go. We're back to work. Mom and Dad got down a little while ago and Dad and I unloaded the logs here near at the build site. So the next thing to do is kind of a long grind. It's going to be peeling all the logs, so that's just getting all the bark off of it, and we'll look a little cleaner that way. And even though it's hedge logs, we decided on hedge logs because they'll last basically forever, and it's kind of rare to get. Some of them have a little curve to them, but for the most part, getting hedge logs this big and relatively straight is pretty tough to find. So yeah, pretty happy with it because again, these things will last forever. So but taking the bark off just remove some area for bugs and insects and whatnot to get into. So yeah, let's get to work. All right, so one log down. Started with the biggest one first, and I'm working my way down to get to the easier ones. So actually not as bad as I thought. I thought I was maybe like halfway or 2/3 done, and flipped it over and I was like, oh shoot, I'm almost done already. So yeah, on to log number 2. Almost done with number 2. This one's overall easier, but it's got a couple tricky spots on it, but I'm gonna go get a drink of water, and I think I need to take a little break to water my grass a little bit. So got a tiny bit of rain this morning, but not much, so pretty warm today. Better moisten it up a little bit. All right, the ground was pretty thirsty, so pretty good watering there, and now we are back to peeling these logs. And that does it for the second big log, and now we are moving on to the relatively smaller logs, which are still pretty big. Final stretch, one more log to peel. And that's a wrap on the peeling of the logs, so happy to be done with that, and they are ready for action tomorrow. So next thing here, I dug those holes 3 feet deep and said I was done, but I think I'm gonna try to go a little deeper here and give a little bit more insurance for stability for these things, because this is gonna be a pretty heavy arch. So I'm gonna see if I can make it to 4 feet without too much problem, but I'll go as far as I can if not. So we've got some help on this project today. We've got some guys here, Matthew Oglesby, Mason Strader, and Bryce Grawn. They all were okay at running, but we are putting together this arch here. So got some equipment here, got a telehandler to help us lift some logs and move them around, and yeah, getting this thing put together. Mason's kind of the master of this. He's grown up working with wood, and that's what his degree was in. So yeah. Gonna record a little bit here and there, but mostly help put this thing together. So far we've got the tops cut off there to where they're level with each other, and now we are going to work on getting the top post secured up there.
That's great.
Well, we got one of the holes filled back in. Diego came over as well, and he thought he was going to get away with not doing any work, but you don't come out to Tradition Farm to not work. So yeah, things are going well. We got one more hole to fill. We'll eat some lunch and then get on to the next hole. Another week or two. So I've got some bad news, and that is that I have decided to give up my Tradition Farm content and pick up boxing content, because I think right now I would have a really mean right hook. So yeah, this looks a little ridiculous. Yesterday morning I was out just thinking I was minding my own business, stacking some wood, but apparently I pissed some wasps off, or yellow jackets or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but something stung the back of my hand, and then kept working all day, and later in the night started swelling up and swell it even bigger overnight. So yeah, it doesn't really hurt. It's just like hard to make a fist, and kind of itchy sometimes, but I don't know, it's just really really swelled up right now. So quite a big difference here between my two hands. So but that's not going to stop me from working. So today we are back to work on the arch, which is right here behind me. So not totally done putting it all together and getting everything on there that we want, but the bulk of it with those 3 big logs is complete. So I do want to clean those up a little bit. So I've got some equipment here to work on them a little bit, between my little battery chainsaw and some sandpaper and a little orbital sander. So just want to clean them up, remove any wood shavings and just anything you could like splinter yourself on, maybe cut off some of the knots on it. So yeah, let's get to work on that. I'm gonna do what I can reach from the ground first, and then I'll probably bring my truck over to work up high after that. Not a whole lot that I wanted to take off with the chainsaw, but now I've got some coarse grit sandpaper that I'm going to go over with it first. So I quickly figured out that working with the coarse sandpaper by hand was pretty much a waste of time. So I just pulled out the draw knife and worked on the logs and cleaned them up a little bit more with that, and then broke out the orbital sander, and it's doing a great job. So I've got most of these logs done as far as I can reach without going like as high as I could possibly go. But yeah, I'm gonna pull my truck up here and work from the bed of my truck and get up a little higher now. So another very productive afternoon / evening of work. Got pretty much every bit of this arch sanded down and smoothed out, and even up top. So yeah, it's looking great, feeling great, and hopefully get it sealed soon. So we're back to work on the arch the next day, and today's task is to try to work towards making these corners a little bit more symmetrical. So you can kind of see that this log over here is naturally curved, but then this is pretty much totally straight. So I want to make a corner post that makes it look a little bit more symmetrical over here. So I think it'll be a kind of a cool look where it's not symmetrical, but it is. So there's going to be a corner post over here, but there's not going to be a corner post over here, but the curve will be relatively similar. So yeah, I'm just going to hop up here and get some measurements up here that should help me out with the cuts that I need to make for over here on this side. So yeah, let's get on to it. Well, I thought I was just going to cut the piece and wait for Mason to get here at some point again to actually put it up, but ended up being able to manage it on my own. So I had to cut it multiple times and figure out the right angles on those edges, but got it close enough and managed to screw it in. So looks a little better from the other side, but hard to see with the sun and the direction it is right now. But anyways, I kind of like the look of it. I was imagining that corner piece being a little bigger, and it's probably a little bit off from what I wanted to be like perfectly symmetrical shape-wise, but I think it's like it looks close enough to be pretty symmetrical, but also still has like kind of an imperfect rustic look to it. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. And if I ever want to change that, I can always just take that piece off pretty easily and make another one. But yeah, I guess it's time to seal this bad boy up now. So that's what I'm going to work on next. Well, I guess it's time to finish up this last summer project. So finishing up things just in time. The team is reporting tomorrow, and then a couple days after we're going to have our first team workout out here. So just finishing things in the nick of time. So basically the last part we're going to do here is I got this gift from somebody, this big metal Tradition sign. It's 8 foot long and 18 inches high, and we are going to hang it from the top of the arch. So basically I've got some eye bolts that we're going to put through the top logs and hang it with a couple of these kind of carabiner quick links. And yeah, Mason's coming over, and he should be over here shortly to help me get this thing up. And shouldn't be too big of a project, definitely not as extensive as getting the arch itself up. So once we do that, gonna be done. And it's Tradition Tuesday as well, so very fitting. So yeah, can't wait to be done and can't wait to see how this looks. So maybe the finish to this video is slightly anticlimactic because I didn't actually get any footage of Mason and I finishing up this project last night. You know, sometimes I don't want to deal with the camera if I'm working on something with somebody and just want to work on it and chat and hang out. And yeah, that's what we did. But we finished it up, and it was pretty fitting just being able to finish on Tradition Tuesday, the day before everybody reports for practice, and being the last project and doing it with Mason. So yeah, time for the big reveal. So yep, there it is behind me. Freaking love it. So little bit hard to see if you're not in line right, but when you get the opening to those letters above the tree line, it's really, really awesome. So got a picture last night with the sunset as that was going down. It's high enough up to where you don't have to deal with, I mean, I can touch it, but if you're running under, you got plenty of space to run under it. So I can, you know, barely reach it just standing up. And yeah, that's it. That was quite the journey finishing up this project, or just working on this project over the past several months. And I'm not done yet, but this is kind of everything I had on my initial wish list to get done before the cross-country season started, which was kind of a big ask getting all that done. Can't believe I did. Couldn't have done it without some help, but you know, I put a lot of hours into this place out here, and I'm really proud of it. So it's turned out beautiful. The layout's really nice. I'm really happy with how everything was pretty darn well thought through. I'm sure there's some things over time that maybe they will prove to be not very well thought through, but whatever. Right now, really awesome. So yeah, I guess this isn't the end of the videos, but it'll be the end of the consistent videos, I guess, with the season starting up and projects being done for a little while. So yeah, hope you all have enjoyed the progress on everything and seeing it all, and hope to be more videos out here, of course. So guess that'll do it, and I will see you in the next video.